Ready? Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited that so many of you are interested in the topic of green innovations. My name is Nit, I work at Energy Lab Cambodia. Before I start, I'd like to say thank you to Impact Hub for hosting this event as a part of Clean Energy Week. Clean Energy Week is our annual festival, and it's about celebrating opportunities that clean energy can bring for Cambodia. More jobs, more investments, sustainable economic growth, lower electricity prices, and help Cambodia to be more energy independent. We have over 30 events that range in topics and styles, and this year it looks a little bit different, as you can see in this event, because of COVID, and we've decided to make clean energy a long-month celebration of opportunities in Cambodia. Now, before I start, I'd like to invite our speakers to introduce themselves and their companies, starting with Bo.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Veasna. I'm French Cambodian. I was born in Cambodia and grew up in France. Grew up and studied in France as mechanical designer, specialized in aircraft system. So I used to work for big companies, Airbus and Boeing, so on, in aircraft and as well for nuclear plant and solar system as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Hello everyone. My name is Theavy, and I'm from ATEC Bioregister International, which is the company that produce and distribute the bioregister for the small farmer household, that they can converting their animal manure into like the biogas and organic fertilizers. Thank you. Your turn.
Nice. Hi, my name is Afi. I'm from Okra. At Okra, we use IoT to let energy companies set up plug-and-play and automated smart microgrids in villages where there's no electricity. I've been in Cambodia for about 4.5 years getting this off the ground, prototyping it, and now finally we're working with the Ministry of Mines and Energy in Cambodia, and we hope to scale this out to get tens of thousands of people energy in the next year in Cambodia.
So much for your patience. Now we're going to proceed with our Q&A session. What a great round of discussion, of presentation, sorry. First of all, thank you so much to all of our speakers, Okra Solar, ATEC, and of course, Grood Electric Bike with us. I'd like to start with the first question, and that is, I'm curious as to why you think this is the right time for Cambodia to start investing in green innovations. So yeah, maybe we can start from Okra Solar on the left.
Why now is the right time?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's always the right time, but for a few reasons. But like for what we do, which is energy access in remote areas, distributed energy sources is what's needed, and distributed is basically renewable, right? So you know, it's what has to happen. And then at a bigger picture, I think Cambodia wants to show that it is joining and leading the way as a young country in you know, not becoming a dirty fuel dependent country, and leading the way in terms of being green, because every country is going to have to do its part if the next generation after it is to live in a country that is in a world that is beautiful and livable for humans.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to ask?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a good time because we don't have choice.
Yeah.
It's kind of an emergency now to change the way if you want to stay and to live. So that's why I think it's a very good time, and specifically for a small country. For me, Cambodia is a small country, and if you show a small country start something really new and advanced, I think the bigger country say, oh, they are motivated to change something. Why don't follow this small and young country? So I think it's good to change, and it's good to have increase the movement.
A very, very good point. Mong?
Yep. For me, I do agree. It's a good time to change because simply like now the people they could see like they could see the potential that have been listed. So we can say like everywhere they can see the potential and then they can take that potential to be working and to bring up and change their society. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really interesting points because I was talking to some university students the other day and they were mentioning, they were curious really why Cambodia, our students and university students and high school students haven't started thinking about the environment. Is that not a pressing enough topic for us? But I think as you've all mentioned already, as much as we don't like to admit it, it is something that's happening, climate change and all that. I think we all feel the effects of it from heavy rainfall and, like, it's just the extreme weather conditions. So I guess the next question is, as you're all implementing these green innovations in Cambodia, what are some challenges that you all face, whether it's solar or biodigesters or electric bicycles?
Yeah, so for us, what we could see with some challenging is related to the people mindset. They still thinking about because we are converting waste. So the word waste, they think like no use anymore. So they don't care. But we try to convince them to change in order to see the potential from that one. To change, to try to be like stop doing what they are doing, which is they think it's easy or something like this. So for us, the challenging is try to change their mindset from um, being easy to be more yeah affordable or something like
I wonder if you find the same, Afnan.
Changing mindsets. I think for electricity, like everyone just wants electricity, right? So that's not so much of a big challenge for us. I think one of the challenges is getting electricity out to really far areas. It's going to be a little bit more expensive than the main electricity grid. And so there's a difficulty in that should the people who have the least pay more for power than the people in Phnom Penh who may have more income and live in BKK or something like that, right? So the challenge is how can we work with the government and the regulators to create a program that is equitable for the people in these rural areas, but also is a sustainable business model that makes enough profit for the private sector to invest in. So we're working really, really hard to work with the government ministries to make sure we can make that solution work.
That's amazing, and maybe we'll visit that in a bit, but I'd also like to hear from people.
For me, it's difficult to change the habit. When you used to have these habits and you don't think it's become natural, so the small changements need need a big effort. But it's just a small thing and need big effort. But once you step and you go through this effort, it's become natural and very pleasant to do that after that. So it's like when someone never do sports, and when you push him, okay, let's do sport a little bit. First, they oh no, I don't like, and it's painful and thing. But once you convince them to do more, do sport, and it start to roll, and this kind of people will need more sports after that. But it's difficult to just encouraging people. Need this encouragement, but
The tipping point.
yeah, exactly.
Waiting for that.
Yeah.
Behavior change are never easy.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. But I think all the companies are doing very, very, very good work in trying to do that. So that's what I really appreciate. Part of this green innovation event. And I guess Bong Theavy, I already asked you about the vision of, I guess, ATEC. Expanding to other countries. But I'd like to also give the same question to, I guess, Veasna and as well as Afnan to share a little about where Grood and Okra Solar is heading in the next few years.
First, we hope more will ride more bicycles. When you see all developed countries and so have the vision about the city and things. They all include bicycle lane and people ride bicycle in all like for the long-term vision in new city. So I think Grood will be a part of this to encouraging people.
So, yeah, really inspiring hearing from you guys. From Okra's side, I think we just don't want to see people not having electricity, right, even today. So we want to accelerate this as fast as possible. Right now, we've done projects in the Philippines, and we're starting pilot projects in Nigeria as well, and we've done projects in Indonesia. And we want, like within the next 5 years, every person on the planet to have electricity. So I think what Okra can do is make a really large dent in that, right? So 2 million households in the next 5 years is basically our target. That's 10 million people. But that means there's still roughly like 800 million people who need to get energized by other companies. So we hope that we can be one part of this ecosystem of many companies finding a way to sustainably get electricity out there.
Very amazing to hear. Really big visions. I'm sure it's very inspiring. So I guess the last question of the night, and I think it comes off as a pretty big question, so I'd like you to elaborate as you need. But what are your thoughts, and I don't know what you have to say to the audience. So for people who think that Cambodia might not be ready for green innovations, it's a smaller country, and like with other issues of like, I don't know, people think, at least the perception of like lacking skills, etc. Like you've done it. You've created the electric bike. You've built the solars and the biodigesters. So what are things you can say to perhaps the youth to inspire them to also get into green innovation? Big question. Big question.
Picture, but I think the most important is just to have an initiative. Your idea maybe can lead somewhere, but just between the idea and the project, just do the step and let's see what happens after. But yeah, I think maybe in small country and people maybe need just an impulsion to have this idea. Maybe they have the idea, but they say, "Oh, maybe I don't have enough skills in this." But now, for example, in fact, Energy Lab, you have people help you to develop your idea and to realize what you want. So, and specifically in small country, you have a lot of ideas. I just need skills, not skills, but okay, do it. So, yeah, I think everyone everyone have an idea, but change this idea to a project need effort. So, but all the time when you want to change, do an effort.
Thank you, Bong.
Yeah, for me, I do support and agree with Veasna. Simply like for you yourself, simply like you need to start first. Even though we know that there's so many obstacles, but we have to start to know like, okay, whether we can do it or not. So we need to test it by ourselves first. Yeah. Simply like take your risk, or you lose the chance. Yeah.
For me, so the question was, why should people go into green energy? Green innovations. I think we're headed for 2.5 or 3 degrees or even more compared to 1800 levels by the end of this century. Like really bad things are happening all over the world, right? Philippines and many places getting battered by typhoons. Australia, biggest bushfires ever. So the world is going to get really, really shit unless we do something about it. That's one side of the coin. And the other side of the coin is that oil and gas and fossil fuel-based energy actually costs more than renewable energy. So if you want to save the planet, you're going to be a hero, or if you want to make money, you're going to be rich. Both of those things point towards green innovations. And then how do you start? I think you gave some really good examples, but it's easier than ever. Just find anyone on LinkedIn, like Veasna or Facebook, and just send him a message, right? Or any of us, and be like, hey, I've got this idea. Can I run it past you? We can now connect to whoever we want on the planet and get feedback almost immediately and start building upon our ideas. It's just about taking the first step, like you guys said.
And a lot of times when I meet young people, they always ask, how do you get into it? How do you get started? Well, I think what I'm hearing is just get started. So if you're here tonight and you're wondering, how do I get into green innovations? Well, you have all the examples here. Grood electric bikes are out in the streets, and Okra Solar is like giving people access to energy where they haven't had access to energy before, and biodigesters are putting waste to use and with less cost and generating more income for people. So I hope the event tonight has inspired you, and I guess thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope to see you in other events for Clean Energy Week.
You can be like a Nike advertisement. Just do it.
Just do it. Thank you so much, Samakun. Thank you.
I can't. See. Thanks. Good job, guys.